Welcome to Little by Little, a short time in God's Word. Today, April 18th, and we are continuing to walk through the life of David as he is still not king and is, in fact, often running for his life. And so what we see in chapter 26, he again has the opportunity to take Saul out, and then he does not do it. And then they kind of split. But chapter 27, it doesn't tell us that David's, in a bad place. It doesn't tell us that he shouldn't have done this. But what we see is he's going to go and live with the Philistines. He's going to decide to throw in with them because he can't, as of yet, be king. And there's no place for him in the kingdom. And so he goes to the king of the Philistines, and he's going to hang out there. And it was a year and 4 months, tells us in chapter 27. And what he would do is go out and make raids. And he would tell the Philistines one thing, but then actually be doing another. And so it's kind of one of those chapters you kind of read and go, I don't know if this was the right thing to do. I don't really get it. But verse 12 of chapter 27 says, Achish trusted David, thinking, he has made himself an utter stench to his people Israel. He shall always be my servant. He's like, I've got him. Like, he can't go home. He's ours. And the contrast then, and what we see happening with Saul is chapter 28, he's going out and trying to get advice from the Median and tries to hide who he was. And he's not. And so there's some similarities in what they're both doing. The difference maybe is that David's not seeking counsel from the Philistines or from witches or mediums like Saul is. Eventually, the Philistines kind of get to the place, chapter 29, where they go, yeah, this David guy is probably not good for us to have him in our camp. It's probably wise for us to say, hey, you got to go. It's time. And that's what eventually happens. And so as you read through, some of these, we have to understand that while there are great things said about David, there are also times and things where you go, But the psalm that goes along with what's happening here, as we see in our reading, is Psalm 56. And you see that ultimately he's not trusting in the Philistines for safety. Right? In Psalm 56, be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples on me all day long, an attacker oppresses me, my enemies trample on me. Verse 3, when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? He says the same things in verse 10 and 11. And so his trust isn't in the Philistines. It's not in his mighty men. His trust is in God. And so sometimes we can make judgments on people about what their actions are doing, but we don't know their hearts. And that may be the case here with David. He's gone to the Philistines for safety, for a season, and God's allowed it. And he's not doing any harm to the people of God. He's actually causing harm from within to the Philistines. And all along, his hope and his trust isn't that he's in this kingdom removed from the danger, but that he's still trusting in God. The physical distance helps, and the fact that he's within the boundaries of the Philistines helps, but some way, somehow, according to the Psalm, his trust is ultimately in God. And I think that's what we have to keep in mind as we go through the things that we go through, that our hope and our trust has to be in God. He's the one that saves. He's the one that walks us through. And when we're afraid, we put our trust in him. Now, he may lead us into areas. He may direct us to paths that we think, man, this seems weird. This seems strange. But I'm going to trust God. I shall not be afraid. Because really, what can man do to me? And when we're worried about what people think more than what God thinks, that's when we get in trouble. Until next time, keep growing little by little.